Okay, make your way back to your seats, please. You are in for something really special.
I'm ready.
Woo! All right, shh. Make your way back to your seats. So earlier today, we got a chance to hear from a real live rock star. That was cool, right? Well, we're going to continue the theme now with a couple people who have created a rock star platinum brand. Rock star platinum, woohoo! They have these awesome, amazing, fun rock star events, and these guys are seriously, Jonathan, what did you call them? 800-pound gorillas of marketing? 1,000-pound gorillas of internet marketing. Absolutely. So we are here to, and usually we don't get to see them on the same stage at the same time. So this is going to be really cool stuff. So I'm glad you're here. You're going to be glad you're here. I'm going to introduce them both separately. The person whose microphone I'm holding is Lee Collins, and with his wife, they have created a hybrid marketing system so that they have found a way to take both offline marketing and online marketing and boost profits literally through the roof. It's an amazing system. If you've not seen about it or heard about it, you will be, it's fabulous. It's a fabulous stuff. And then, of course, Simon Leung, is the whiz kid of Google, and I'm going to let him tell you his story because it's an amazing story, but he was working at Google before they went public. And overnight, things changed for him and what he did at Google. And he was there writing Google AdWords. He was writing the rules that we all follow. This guy knows his stuff. So they're going to talk about how you can use and integrate how using social media will get you better rankings at Google. Does that sound like something we need to know about?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Simon Leung and Lee Collins.
Give Felicia a hand. Yeah. That's not very rock star, dude.
Hey, can we get that flip chart up here? That'd be awesome.
So thank you guys for joining us. As mentioned in our introduction, I mean, we both respectively have our own expertise, our own background. As a matter of fact, one of my first events was meeting Lee. We're going to show you an exact story of how we met and all that fun stuff. But really, the reason why we're here today and why we are both in this arena now is because we both know so many different things. Lee's expertise is in the offline field and mine more so on the Google side, but together we definitely were able to achieve more. That's why now we're a team, because what does team stand for? Together everyone achieves more, right? So, I mean, this is so corporate. It's basically our background in the corporate world. But a lot of things that we're going to be sharing with you today, we really do want to make sure that you understand that we have combined both of everything that we've been able to do for the past 2.5 years and developed our own system, because we all had a real big background on learning, losing money from different information, different courses, different things like that. But now we understand that in order to really make it big and understand exactly what it takes to overcome all the Google slaps of the world, overcome all of the various things that Google throws at us, and even other search engines, all different strategies that you must keep up with, we needed to develop our own system, which is why we're here. We developed the Rockstar Platinum brand, as you can see. We developed what is now what is called a Rockstar status for all of us. What does it mean to you? It can mean financial freedom. It can mean spending time with your family and friends. But ultimately, what we really want to do is to make sure that within the 90 minutes or so that we have to share with you today, that we share with you exactly how we are able to build our businesses and take it up to the 6- and 7-figure and even 8-figure businesses, whatever your goals might be, and beyond. Does that sound something cool that you want to hear about?
And one of the things people think about when they think rock star is tight leather pants, long hair, black fingernails, all that garbage. That's all cool, but you know, rock star is a mindset. It's not a profession. So if you want to achieve your own rock star status in your brand, in your niche, in your market, this is how you're going to do it.
Right. So for the next 90 minutes, we're going to show you some Google insider secrets to how you can achieve instant rock star status for yourself, for your business, whatever you want, and in whatever niche you want to be in. These are basically a lot of the Google insider strategies that I had the real advantage and the honor of being inside Google and developing the strategies, and now I'm able to share with them with you today because as a Google employee, believe it or not, I was not allowed to have my own business. I was not allowed to share a lot of this information with my clients. And so when I left Google, I decided that I was going to combine all the strategies, not only the ones I developed internally at Google, but also develop new strategies and be able to train them all around the world. As a matter of fact, Lee and I just came back from Singapore, Malaysia. We travel all around the world training this kind of information, but you guys are very lucky because we are so experienced in presenting together, presenting this topic. This is actually our second time doing this.
Yeah.
So you are so lucky because this is completely brand new.
It's almost unrehearsed and unpracticed.
It's very unrehearsed, as a matter of fact. But it's okay because that's how we kind of like to do our thing. We like to walk around. We like to get more information about you and customize our presentations according to what you want. And so that's why we're here. But before we get to that, before we get to the actual content, the Google Insider strategies that's going to help you dominate any niche you want and the rockstar status, is it okay for Lee and myself to talk a little bit about us so that you know that we're qualified to be speaking in front of you today? Is that cool?
Because we know you're asking, who the heck are these people?
All right, that's good because we already have slides up here.
Slides.
And if you had said no, it would be kind of weird. We just flip through all of these. But okay, so this is a little bit about myself, a little bit about my background. I started working at Google back when I was still at school. It was basically around the time of the dot-com bust, and whoa, all of a sudden, things exploded, right? Because I was working actually 25 different part-time positions in marketing fields for all the dot-com companies, and one day it just exploded. Everything just kind of went into pieces, and we didn't know what went on. So I talked to my professors, and they encouraged me to start applying for different positions inside Google and also other places. And I got lucky enough to be accepted by this company.
Hey, you know what I just realized, though? We should walk like unsynchronized across the stage and really freak the camera guy out. Just like go like this, right?
What are they gonna do? I don't know, right?
See what happens.
I don't know. You go ahead. I'm just gonna stay right here.
I'll just wander around, right?
Yeah, it'll be better actually, because then it'll get you off with a shot.
Oh, crap. He's always doing that to me.
All right, so a little bit about my background. I worked at Google and really had the opportunity to start growing myself, growing my business, because they hired me on as a temp. They were like, okay, hey, you know what? We don't know about the future of this company. We don't know whether or not this is going to be a big service. We don't know if it's going to last. It's going to be something that is brand new, okay? The whole dot-com bust just happened. Let's see where we go with that. So they hired me on as a temp. And I was like, hey, you know what? Sure. You gave 3 free meals a day. Feed me. I'll work for free, you know? So they hired me, and probably one of the best examples of an overnight success story that I have ever been a part of or ever seen ever. I went home one day reviewing ads, and there were about 100 ads left in the bin. I came in the next day, and there were over 100,000 ads in the bin. 100,000, that's an extreme growth, right? And that was the day that they signed the AOL deal, which they merged and created what is now known as the entire AdWords system. And so now I had the opportunity to start from scratch, really from the beginning. It was March of 2002, when they started the AdWords program. In April of 2002, I started working for them. So I started really at the beginning, had the opportunity to build it from the ground up. However, for about a year, we had a system going on, a system that really worked so well. But then the company was like, hey, you know what? We have a lot of clients. We have a lot of advertisers coming in. How do we know that they're going to get the best return on investment? Nobody knew. There was no strategies, nothing, no tactics. So me and one other guy, we had the opportunity to develop what is now, not this guy, we had the opportunity to develop what is now known as the Google AdWords optimization team. And I was one of 2 guys who developed the strategies, and I was personally responsible for putting together all the training information that is still being used today at Google to train everybody. So for the next 4.5 years, I was working there, and basically had the chance to grow the team and train a team and become their top resource for a lot of different things. And it was a really great opportunity for me to grow myself personally and professionally as well. Now, probably one of the biggest questions that I get while working at Google, and even afterwards, they were saying, hey, you know what? You had such a great position. You're the top resource. Everybody's asking you questions. You're the main guy that everybody goes to. Why do you leave Google? Why did you leave? You know, you had so much stock options on the table that I literally left over 6 figures worth of stock options on the table because I knew that there was an opportunity out here, not just for me, but also for everybody in this room, everybody in the internet marketing community. The very first event that I went to was May of 2006. And at that event, I met some of my friends, some of my mentors, people that I've invested into, people that I've learned a lot from. And they basically encouraged me that, you know, there's so much information that I can be sharing, but also if I wanted to grow a company for myself, because at the end of the day, it was a job, it was a job that I was working at Google. JOB stands for just over broke. And we really wanted to make sure that we had the opportunity to grow our threshold a lot more. So they encouraged me to leave my job, actually 3 months to the day after I attended my very first live event. I quit my job, I retired from Google, and the rest, as they say, is history. And for the next 2.5 years up until now, we've been kind of traveling the world, doing our thing. Some of my clients, while I was working at Google, these are the highest paying clients, the eBays, as well as the Amazons of the world. People are spending 6 figures, sometimes 7 figures, every single day, every week, every month. So these are the top paying dogs. After I left Google, I've been working with a lot of different internet marketers as well as entrepreneurs, helping them with their training and coaching and really anything that they needed. We actually recently developed a company out in China for people who are more interested in outsourcing their work so that they can focus on growing their business and building their business, working on their business as well as opposed to in their business, which is a really great model that we believe in. And so we try to make sure that we have the services and coaching programs that's relevant for anybody. And now if you're interested, I don't know if you are.
Well, you know, after your 2-hour-long introduction, I don't
1
know if I
hour
have
and
time.
59 minutes, thank you very much.
So, I mean, the short introduction I usually say is trailer park, blah, 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 rich. And it's cool, right? Is that something you all would like to aspire to? Just like overnight, it's like bam. It only took me 18 years for my overnight success to happen, by the way. I spent 9 years in the Air Force as a systems engineer, highly trained. I said, you know, hey, this is too good of a job to just stay in the Air Force and keep doing, although I love my job, I love my career. So I went out into corporate, instantly doubled my salary there. So I came from a position of actually being South Carolina, dirt road, trailer park broke, to go into a career that gave me a nice corporate career that I could like hang my hat on. I mean, I eventually grew a small team of 7 people to, I forget how many, like 20-something, and from 8 servers to over 200 servers. We were doing a global network performance. A lot of companies I can't name on film, but you would know these companies if I were to tell you. If you want to know what they are privately, and some of you are in corporate, just ask me, and I'll tell you, hey, maybe we were the team who monitored your network and kept it running for you. Now, the reason I bring that up is because systems is a part of my past, and training is a part of my past. One of the things that I did is I was a trainer at each of my bases. I taught people how to do the job. So I would go to a new base, revamp all the training plans, and teach people the simpler way to do it the right way. So as far as bringing experience to the table of how to do stuff, I can break it down to a very simple level so you understand it. That's one of the reasons that Simon and I resonate so well. So I started online in 2000. I did great my first year. I lost over $30,000, made a grand total of $114. Not very good. So the wife comes to me one day, she had a big stack of papers, and she said, Lee, what's this? And I said, honey, that's our internet business. And she said, well, it doesn't look so good. So she told me, how much money are we making? I told her $114, and she said, well, you either got to make it work or you got to quit. So I anybody ever heard that before? You got to make it work or quit, right? It's been there, done that, right? So I discovered affiliate marketing to try to make some money, eventually started selling my own products. And have you ever seen those little race cars that are about this big that are remote controls? Those are one of the first things I sold. The reason I sold them is because I saw my email box getting filled up with spam saying, look at these little cars, you know, they're the best little thing ever. I heard Diane Sawyer on USA Today, I think it was, say, if you can find the market where you can get an unrestricted source of these cars, you can make a fortune. So I found a place in China, got the cars. We became the largest distributor of those little cars on the East Coast, right from my kitchen table in Richmond, Virginia. You should have seen us at November at Thanksgiving. We cleared off all the stuff, did our Thanksgiving dinner with the family, put the boxes back on the table, and started our assembly line back up again to get the orders out. It was really cool. So, hit me. So November 2002, I had my first $5,000 day. That turned into a $20,000 plus month. Wife was happy, the bills went away because that $30,000 in debt suddenly disappeared. Do you think she was suddenly a believer that this might work? Absolutely. So I showed her, I said, hey, this works, it's gonna be cool. Also in May 2006, I attended my first internet marketing seminar. It wasn't the same one with Simon, but I met him later that year. I called my wife, Robin, from that seminar, and I said, honey, when I get home Monday, I'm quitting my job because I hate my boss. I mean, have you ever seen the little button on the net that said, fire your boss? I wanted to hit that button because I didn't like the dude anyway. So I said, I got to fire the guy. I want to do my own thing. So she said, okay, well, you've turned it around. Everything's cool. Go for it. We both ended up walking away from 6-figure jobs to do our own thing. Do you think this stuff works? It absolutely does when you find the right system, the right program, the right people to align yourself with. That's why we're here to talk to you today. So I want to share some stuff with you.
So here's the very first event that Lee and I met.
We look a little different there,
2006. Actually, this is full circle because it was also right here in Orlando, Florida.
It was, yeah.
And basically, this was the beginning of a very beautiful relationship.
Not that kind.
Not like that. Anyway, so since then, Lee and I have actually been in touch and really developed a lot of things together because we work so close together that we realized that even though Lee is an offline, really hybrid marketing thing is completely different if you think about it in the overall bigger scale of Google Insider and Google marketing strategies. We actually found a very interesting correlation that will help us both develop our businesses. And actually, we're going to show you some examples of how these strategies have grown our businesses tremendously over the last few months. But what we really want to share with you are all of these points up here. So here's what we plan on doing for the next.
It's only going to take us the next 4 hours. Is that okay?
A lot of training. We have obviously we have a background in corporate, so that's why we're going to see a lot of bullet points. You're going to see a lot of content because that's what we are used to sharing. Is that cool? You want some content? Yeah. You want some information? All right. So for the next hour and a half, we're going to share with you some social media fundamentals because we want to make sure that everybody in this room is on the same page. Okay, we understand there's beginners here. There's also some people who are advanced. We want to start at one common level so that we can all speak each other's language, so to speak. Okay, and then some effective social marketing for profit, some social proof, if you will, developing your professional brand online, adding the right friends and followers into your social media, sharing valuable information and experiences, communicating and encouraging interaction with your people, becoming a resource, showing your personality, and then finally increasing your credibility with photos.
Dude, that's a lot of stuff.
That's a lot of information. You better take notes.
Oh, crap. Okay.
All right, so the first thing about social media fundamentals. First of all, what is social media marketing? Social media marketing is basically a business model that is associated with building networks online. From the very beginning, networking has always been encouraged as a part of a business model, whether online or offline. But since the birth of social media, it has made everything 1,000 times easier because now you can network and meet people at the comfort of your own home. And so it's really awesome, okay? Creating a brand and presence online, now you can actually build profiles. You don't need to be a big celebrity in order to build your own network, in order to bring your own, build your own, cult, if you will.
Hey.
Call it that. And then ultimately what this is as a result of, you can drive massive amounts of traffic to your website. You're going to be able to drive more visitors, getting more people to see who and what you're selling, okay? And then becoming an authority with the 500-pound gorilla of internet marketing and internet in general, which is Google.com. Who doesn't want to partner with Google? So there's a lot of strategies out there, a lot of different tactics, and a lot of different courses that teach you how to use social media, how to use SEO, how to use pay-per-click, how to use advertising, all these different things. But not too many of them are going to correlate everything with Google.com, and that's really a big reason why Lee and I teamed up, because he had a lot of expertise. He started in 2000. I didn't start until 2006. Right, so he had a lot of background information and knowledge and expertise in everything associated outside of Google. But I was working at Google ever since 2002.
It took me longer because you're smarter than me.
So, okay, I'll give you that. Okay, I'd argue with you, but then we'd both be wrong. Okay, so Google.com is basically where I came in because we now decided that with his expertise and my expertise in Google, we can combine that and develop something really extraordinary. Okay, and now with the benefits of social media marketing, a lot of what we can do online now is basically make sure that everybody is really interactive. You can communicate with users. You can do a lot of different things, including business and personal networking. You'll see that on our Twitter, we often tweet about business stuff.
How many people have Twitter? All right, cool.
Okay, so we're basically saying where we're going to be, what topics we're going to be sharing. People ask us questions about marketing and business, but there's also a lot of personal side in that, and that's really a big secret in terms of building your personal relationships with your individual, is by building your personal relationships, you also build your business relationships as well. So brand yourself, build relationships, and then ultimately, a really interesting point that people tend to miss is even though social media seems to be its own game, right? You do a lot of branding, you do a lot of marketing, you do a piece of yourself. A lot of what people don't know is that at Google, even though it's a big mystery, not too many people know how you can get high rankings on Google, how you can dominate Google and all those secrets. The big secret is that with social media, Google is now looking at all these different strategies, and they're taking a look at your personal activity and your interaction with your users. So if you're doing a good job with your social media, on your Twitter, on your Facebook, on your MySpace, and your LinkedIn, well, by doing all of that, you're going to see that you're actually going to do a really good job on the search engine rankings as well, because Google is going to recognize your profile. They're going to recognize how well you're doing in terms of communicating with your followers, your friends, with your business prospects, and your customers, and you're going to see that you're taking good care of their users. And so they're consequently going to give you really good keyword rankings as well on the search engine side. So going back on social media a little bit on the social media revolution. It's a $15 billion industry. That's why there's so many. There's like dozens, if not hundreds, of new social media platforms being built every single day, being released every single day. So that's why you're going to see an average of about 2 to 10 million average users per site, which is really incredible. That basically tells us that we should really go in there and start communicating, start networking, because all our prospects, all our buyers are in there, okay? Top sites range between 70 to 100 million users and average about 250,000 members every single day. 250,000 members every single day joining these social media sites. So this is really combined, is about nearly 80% of all the internet traffic that goes to any of the websites. So it's really really incredible, and anybody who does not take advantage of this should do it right now. So a little bit of a history in terms of networking. Did you want me to write that on the board? Is that what you'll do it now? Whatever. Networking in social media. Okay, networking has always been encouraged ever since day one. This is a screenshot of MySpace back in 2006. Okay, you can see that it says, okay, so you're here for, what are you here for? Are you here to make friends? Are you here for dating? Right? Are you here for networking? Or are you here for building relationships? So networking is in there. It has always been encouraged ever since day one, which means that it's always been an effective way for people to build and network online. Networking categories, you can see marketing in there, so it's a way for a lot of marketers to join it. The really great thing about social media and why people do it is the promotional opportunity. Obviously, there's over 100 million users. You can technically add an unlimited number of friends. Anybody who is on MySpace, on Facebook, on Twitter, you can add them as friends and build relationships with them. There's also communities and forums, as well as bulletins, and you can send direct messages as well as public messages to your friends so that everybody can see the way that you network as well. Here's social proof. Anybody in the internet marketing space will recognize some of these names. There's Mike Filsaime, Tom Beal, Polly Sable. You're going to see Armin Morin, and Ken McArthur is also in here. Brett Fallon, and just Joel Comm. All these great marketers, top names, all now on things like Twitter, on Facebook, on MySpace. And it's great social proof that this works. Because previously, if anybody wanted to, say, reach Ken McArthur or something, you're probably going to have to go through a series of hoops, right? You're going to go through a support system, and then that's going to probably never reach him. He's probably never going to see you. But now you can just tweet him, and he is almost obligated to respond to you right away. And why do they put themselves in that kind of position? Because it works. It's a great way for marketing. It's a great way for networking. And even though there is a possible downside, because now you're doing more quote-unquote customer support, you're not really doing customer support. You're building relationships and you're branding and you're bonding with your prospects, and which ultimately, in the long run, does more good than harm. Now, with effective social marketing for profit, we want to show you some proof that social marketing really works, especially on a Google standpoint. So here's our case study number 1. That's my site. And in the last month, you can see that over 41,000 people came to my site from 157 countries and territories, speaking 71 different languages. Now, my blog is in English, so the other 70 languages, that come to my site. I don't know how they got there or why they're there, but hey, I'm not complaining. My site has over 40,000 people, and I was traveling the entire time. I wasn't even actively going in there and saying, hey, come to my site. I wasn't actively promoting it. It's because of the power of social media, the power of Web 2.0, the power of everything that Google now associates with being authority and being high quality. It's now driving a lot of traffic to my website as a result of search engine rankings. Here's a keyword. My name is Simon Leung, and a lot of people say, hey, you know what, especially when they introduce me on stage, they say, hey, you know what? Everybody give a hand for the one, the only, Simon Leung. Well, as you can see over here, there's actually over 2 million websites out there. And my name is just one of a lot of people named Simon Leung. There's actually a VP in Microsoft. There's artists, there's photographers, there's teachers and Motorola people, and you name it, okay? There's actually famous people in Hong Kong and in Taiwan with the same name, and yet my site is #1. Why? Because Google recognizes my name, recognizes that my marketing strategies is consistent with what they consider to be high quality. So out of the millions of people who have that name, who have that website, my site comes up #1. Now, what about keywords that aren't associated with me directly? What about something like AdWords outsourcing? My main product and my main service for a very long time, for the past 2 years, is AdWords outsourcing. Now, do you think if somebody is interested in pay-per-click and they don't want to necessarily learn their information, that they'll probably go to google.com and type in AdWords outsourcing? Well, my link is on the very first page of Google, right there. What about something like AdWords consultation? You think somebody might be interested in getting services like AdWords consultation? Well, if they type in AdWords consultation on Google, they'll see that I'm on the first page as well.
Everybody can read this, right? Yes?
Just a word. You don't. Well, you can hear it. It's okay. AdWords workshop, okay? So page 1 on Google for anybody who is interested in looking up something or maybe being part of an AdWords workshop or live event. The Smart Seminar, an event that I did with Lee and Collins in Singapore, Malaysia, also on page 1. And then the I5 cruise, which is something that is actually a lot of fun. We, as marketers, we probably had about 250 people go this year. It's called the I5 cruise. It's a marketing cruise for internet marketers. And on a search for I5 cruise, my site is #1 on that as well. Now, what about keywords that I didn't even proactively optimize for? What if it's a keyword as general as smart, or through, or authors, or birthday, or going, or google.com, or google.sg? Now, these are keywords that you can't even optimize for, even if you wanted to, even if you're trying your best and you're pulling out all your hair trying to figure out, okay, how the heck am I going to rank for a word like birthday? Well, people are coming to my site after searching for really generic terms like that. Do you think this is going to get you some traffic? Yes or yes? Yes, right? Now, let's talk a little bit about social media now, okay? Search engine rankings is great. Having a good ranking for your blog is great. But because social media is so big, again, we want to correlate everything into google.com. We want to see what Google understands to be high authority, high quality. So take a look, okay? I showed you on a search of Simon Leung, my site was #1, right? What I didn't show you was the remaining 9 results of that first page. Twitter, MySpace, YouTube, MeFeeds, or MeFeedia, Awesemo, Mashable, Rever, Twitter, again, and MetaCafe. These are all social media sites, and all of these point back to my site. These are all my profiles. So despite having over a dozen other Simon Leungs out there, no matter how famous they are, I'm not only #1 on Google, I'm also the entire first page. And one thing that you're going to see really interesting is that with social media, even though there's a lot of social media results out there, what's the one site that appears twice? Twitter, right? That's why we talked about Twitter. That's why we're going to be talking about Twitter a lot for the next hour or so. And that's because Twitter right now is the biggest dog in internet marketing, according to Google. It's really cool. So we're going to be sharing with you exactly how Google is able to help us drive more traffic to our website as a result of using Twitter. This is our top traffic sources. As a matter of fact, what's your percentage? How much percent of your traffic comes from Twitter now?
32%.
That's pretty cool, right?
32% of my web traffic. I just started in May, and 32 full percent.
That's awesome. Well, this is my site. Twitter is my #1 top source of traffic. This actually beats out YouTube. It beats out Google, which is incredible. Google is helping Twitter be my top source. Yeah, and it's not even Twitter. It's not even Google anymore. Okay, direct traffic referrals. You're gonna see this is a widget on my website. It's called Feedjit, F-E-E-D-J-I-T. As you can see over here, Twitter is referring all this traffic to my website. Every single one of these come from Twitter. And in terms of Twitter, what if you know about how to grow followers, right? And the really importance of making sure that people are following you and things like that. Well, this chart basically shows you that we didn't start from the beginning. We weren't experts at Twitter from the beginning. We also go through our little series of trying to learn exactly what happens. Okay, what does Twitter want? What does Google want with Twitter? How do we grow our followers? Well, we cracked the code right here, right about here. You're going to see that this graph moves gradually up and to the right, which is always a great way for any business to grow, and in this case, followers. But right when it hits this point, we went straight up. Okay, so now it's up and to the up because we're not just going right anymore, it's going straight up. Now, how would you like to learn the secrets of growing your followers so that it goes straight up?
Yes.
Yeah? Very cool, right? Okay, so take a look at what else you can do, okay? New followers by the minute. This is a 5-minute period. This is a screenshot for those of you who can't see. This is a screenshot of my email, okay? This is a full page of about, I don't know, it looks like 20, 25 new follower notifications, and it was all within a 5-minute period. So-and-so is now following you, okay? And how to get new recommendations from raving fans. So all of these people proactively say, hey, I recommend that you follow this guy because of X, Y, Z. And what about endorsements from real customers? These are people who have invested in my product, who have access to my product or my coaching or my information, and they're basically saying, hey, you know what, I encourage you to do the same thing and follow this guy and also invest in his product because they are really helping me a lot. So these are people who are proactively endorsing you publicly on Twitter.
And what's one of the best forms of advertisement for you is word of mouth endorsements. Other people saying, hey, this guy's cool. So he's got dozens and dozens of people every day saying Simon Leung is cool. It doesn't swell his head at all or anything. It's just...
It makes my face bigger, but that's
Does
because
it?
I eat a lot.
Okay.
Okay.
These are jokes. They're supposed to be funny.
It's okay. With email marketing, everybody's familiar with building a list and email marketing, things like that, right? Well, with Twitter, you can actually see that this is now even more effective than most emails that come out. I'm doing little retweets, I'm sending out links, and I'm getting 500, 600, 500, 800 people clicking on these links because they're interested. I've built that relationship with them. They trust me, they know me, they like me, and they are interested genuinely in what I have to say and share with them. So this is a really great example of how interactive and being part of something like Twitter can help you grow more links and get you more information and more people coming to your site. So with all the different strategies combined, okay, in terms of building your credibility, in terms of building your list and talking to people, this is what you can do with your search engine rankings. Okay, who doesn't want page 1 rankings, right? Everybody wants page 1 ranking. A lot of people pay search engine optimizers $3,000 to $5,000 every single month just so they can be anywhere within the first 3 pages of Google. Well, now with social media, with all the secrets that we will be sharing with you today on how to build relationships with your Twitter followers and with your social media friends, you can literally dominate every single search result. Look at this. This is 10 out of 10 of the first page on most of these, okay? If you can be more than one spot, I mean, number 1 spot is awesome, but what if you're going to dominate the entire page? Then your customers are basically not going to find any other competitors except for you. So if nobody can find anybody else, then obviously they're going to buy from you, right?
So would you rather spend $3,000 a month to have a search engine optimization company who really can't get you the results, do the work, or just a few hours a week to do it yourself? I mean, everything in life costs time or money, right? So, I mean, this is so easy.
Absolutely.
Roll with it, brother.
So develop your professional brand. First, and very important, you need to create your brand. Branding is important on all aspects, okay? When people give you a tissue now, some people say, hey, would you like a Kleenex? Kleenex is a brand. It's not what it is, it's a tissue. But Kleenex has done such a good job in branding themselves that now people are calling them that. So when people talk about us, go, hey, have you met this rock star? You know, these, right? It's me,
Simon's
right?
there.
So develop your brand, whether it be your personal name, which is really encouraged. A lot of people like to brand their personal name. So like Tony Robbins, right? Who doesn't know who Tony Robbins is? But everybody will associate Tony Robbins with personal development. That's because that's what he's branded himself to be. So when you say, who's the number one personal development guy out there, you're going to say Tony Robbins because he's done such a good job with it. Your profile name or your brand name, any one of these. We've got some examples. Your personal name, here's a couple of our Twitter names, okay? Twitter ID, Simon Leung and Lee Collins. These are basically our names. It's easy to remember. It's for anybody who might be interested in following us. Well, you can just follow us and find us by our names. But what if you want to build a brand for yourself? Okay, this is a split personality that I have. And Cool Sai, a lot of people say Cool C, but it's actually Cool Sai. Sai stands for Simon. Anyway, this is a really great way for you to start building a profile for yourself as well. And the Rockstar Platinum brand that we have, well, Rockplat is also on our Twitter ID so that anybody who's interested in learning more about our Rockstar events, all our products and services and information, they can basically follow this guy, Rockplat, and we keep them up to date with all that information. So here's how your brand looks like. This is the Twitter page, twitter.com/Simon Leung, that's my page. Twitter.com/Lee Collins, that's Lee's page.
Hey, I won the race, by the way, by 10 minutes. We flew from San Jose to here, and somehow we got on different airlines.
So irrelevant.
So it's northwest to southwest. I beat him by 10 minutes. I don't know. Who won that? Heidi, right? So you owe her dinner, don't you?
Is Heidi here?
I think so. Where's Heidi?
She's not here.
She'll be here.
She'll
come here for dinner.
Disqualified. Okay, adding the right friends and followers. In order to gain followers, you first must need to be a follower yourself, okay? So you first need to find people that you know, find people that you want to meet, as well as finding people within your niche. A really great way when I first started was I started looking up my friends. I started looking at people that I wanted to connect with, and I looked at their follower list and to see if there were people that I want to connect with. First of all, I really wanted to meet people that I didn't know who were probably one of the top dogs, and there's a lot of people that I met initially on Twitter, which is really great because once you meet them in person, that really breaks the ice. You no longer have to be shy and say, well, I'm an introvert by nature, so I'm really shy. And so usually I don't approach people and say, hey, you know what? I'm a really big fan of yours. Can I meet you or whatever, okay? With social media, you make friends with them right away. You're basically following them. They follow you back. You say, hi, what's up? How can I help you? Build relationship online. When you come to a live event like this, then you're basically, hey, you know what, this is, I'm so-and-so on Twitter. We talked about this and that. So it's a really great way for you to connect and build a relationship with these people even before you meet them live.
Yeah, a lot of people actually put like at their name right on their name badges. So when you walk up, how many people are guilty of saying, hey, at, and you just mess up like you're talking? We see that all the time now, especially when you put it on your badge. So put it on your badge so people can follow you if you have Twitter.
Yep. Now, depending on what your niche is, what your personal goals are for your Twitter profile, you also want to make sure that it's relevant to what it is that you're going to teach. So, right there, it's going to say, hey, Ron, I didn't see you back there. We like to be interactive. Network with the right people. You want to make sure that they are within your niche. So, if you're an expert in almost anything you can think of in internet marketing, like Dr. Ron, okay, that's right there, the niche prof, then he can probably connect with affiliate marketers. He can connect with copywriters, with anything internet marketing related. Well, with my profile, when I first started, I wanted to connect with anybody who might be interested in Google AdWords, anybody who might be interested in Google or just marketing in general, pay-per-click. But now, you can see that Twitter is growing so much that everybody is wanting to get together, and it's more of a networking game than it is more of how you can provide value for individuals. So it's a really great way for you to start building a relationship with these people and start finding the right people to network with, whatever niche you might be. So if you're in the dog training niche, you don't really want to network with necessarily people who are in network marketing or internet marketing. You want to make sure that everybody is relevant so that when you put up the offer out there, when you say, hey, I have this new product, can I get your expertise, can I get your feedback on this, then people are literally going to be more responsive because it's more relevant to what they're talking about. Sharing valuable information and experiences, because at the end of the day, everything is about building value. Everything is about, okay, so how can I provide value for you? How can my tweets, how can my messages to you, how can our relationship be mutually beneficial? And the very first thing that you need to understand and do exactly is to make sure that you are being valuable to them first. So introduce yourself, okay? Let people know who you are and tell them exactly what you're up to. In your profile, you can basically set this up so that you're basically in a very short, about 160 character limit or so, explain exactly what you are and how you can help somebody in their businesses. So Lee talks about how he's an expert in hybrid marketing. I talk about how I can help them with Google marketing in general, and it's a really great way for people to come to your site, come to your Twitter profile, take a look and see exactly what it is that you're an expert in, and be able for them to connect with you and say, hey, you know what, I actually just started a website. I want to know how I can connect with my audience through hybrid marketing, through direct marketing. How can you help me? So it's a great way for you to reactively say, hey, you know what, I have a perfect system for you. Let's talk. Building trust from complete strangers. So even offline or online, when you don't know somebody, when you just met somebody, you're going to need to start building trust with them before they're even going to be friends with you. So let people know what you do, tell them who you're hanging out with, and let maybe the law of association help you out with that. Here's some of my tweets, okay? For those who don't know me and don't know about my background, what I do, basically I tweet and say, you know, if I'm doing something, here's one of my tweets. Keynote speaking today at the Rockies Furniture Club in Denver. Another one's about to present unprepared at Dr. Mike's workshop. So, you know, add a little bit of humor in there. Say, bring a little bit of your personality in there, and say exactly what's on your mind. This is a really great way for you to share not only information with people, but also your experiences as well. Continuing on with that, not everybody just want to hear about the boring stuff, right? You're presenting or you're going to be networking at this event. They also want to see what cool stuff you're doing. So anybody know Alex Mendosian or heard of him? Anybody heard of Ewan Chia from Singapore? Well, I was in Singapore this one time and we went to karaoke. So I tweeted about that and people actually responded and say, hey, tell Alex to sing this certain song. I forgot what it was and record him singing. And Alex said, no cameras. Right? So I mean, it was an interesting experience as well.
We do have footage of Mike Koenig's doing I can't say that. Never mind.
We'll edit that out. So this was the AdWords workshop that I had several months ago, and basically had the VIP team on there. Lee Collins was there, Ben Mack. We also had Dr. Mike and a few other people. And then here was playing video games at Joel Combs' house. You know, how cool is that? Really great experience. And Joel Combs actually tweeted a video that we did while we were playing, I think it was Rock Band or Guitar Hero or something, which is completely silly. But at the same time, it's a really great way for us to build relationships.
Did that really say it's on like Hong Kong?
You didn't see anything. Build your credibility, okay? So find people with questions and show them how you can help them. Go to Twitter search, and here's an example of somebody who was asking the question specifically on Google AdWords and about the budget. Well, I responded with an answer to that, and as you can see really quickly, a lot of people started responding to that and saying, hey, you know what, I thought XYZ. Okay, what about XYZ? So it's a really great way for you to start talking to your followers, making the conversation, and start adding more value at one person at a time, because that's really valuable to everybody, especially when you can help them individually with questions. And if you don't ask and you don't provide that information first, then it's going to be really hard for you to know exactly what people need. So providing an answer out there, and people are going to start following you and start following up with any type of other questions that you have in terms of that. Communicating and encouraging interaction. So you want to begin your conversation right away. The very first thing that I do when I go onto Twitter, probably, unless there's a lot of people who are tweeting me and really asking me specific questions, I basically start wanting to communicate with them. Okay, I send public messages either on their wall or I tweet them. You can probably send private and direct messages to people who you want to build further your personal relationship with. But a great way to start the conversation is really publicly. So when somebody follows me right away, I typically have a personal private message that says, thanks for following as a surprise bonus. Now, granted, not everybody is going to be a fan of this. Not everybody really likes to say, hey, thanks for following. They don't care about that. But the point here that I have is I have a free gift for you. So now, if you follow me, you're actually going to see that I made you not only a welcome video, but a welcome video that includes 5 Twitter tips, as well as an entire handbook and a report on Twitter, absolutely free. So that's what that gift is. Whenever somebody follows me, it's a really great way for you to break that ice, build that relationship, and have people come into you and look into you as an expert right away, because 85% of all my new followers are probably new Twitter users that joined within the last month or so. So that's a lot of people who are new, a lot of people who will benefit from that information, and so I give that information for free as a way for me to start building relationships with them. Now, starting the conversation, initiate a chat by asking a question, making a comment that encourages responses. Usually a question is the best because now you're going to be able to get more people communicating and interacting with you, sparking conversations with your friends. Here's a really great example. Just throw it out there. What are you doing? Do people respond to that? Absolutely. People will tell you exactly what they're doing, and then you can start following up with different conversations after that. It's a really great way for you to break the ice because people are going to see you tweets, and people are going to start saying, hey, you know what, this is something that I can answer, because everybody can answer what are you doing. If you ask somebody a more specific question about the expertise, then you can probably narrow it down to whatever it is that you want, but this is a really great way for you to start sparking some kind of conversation with them. Okay? Initiating chats with friends. So you have friends, you have people that you follow. Go ahead and take a look at your Twitter stream. Take a look at the people that you're following and see what they're talking about. Maybe something interesting would kind of catch your eye. You're going to start talking to them. Okay? So let's say that we're building relationships here, right? This is Alan Bechtold. He's one of our buddies. He's supposed to be here, but he's not. Actually, he's like local in Orlando, but he's not here. But this is another event that we kind of met up at. And basically after that, I said, hey, it was really great talking to him. This is a public tweet. I'm talking to him publicly. And he also, continues the conversation. Now everybody sees that we are kind of building relationships publicly as well. Joining different people's conversations, so don't just start conversations. Take a look and see what other people are saying. Identify interesting chats, inviting yourself into discussions, and then adding value as well as entertainment. So here's Coach Deb. She is probably one of the more, I guess she branded herself as the Twitter queen or something like that.
Twitter queen at one time, yeah.
Something like that. So she's really big on Twitter, and she wrote a book on Twitter and all of that. And this is an example of when she was deep in conversation with somebody regarding something, I guess it was probably controversial. It was about male and female, about how male was a little bit more aggressive in terms of sharing their links, and then women would probably just kind of DM the links and not really share it. And she was basically saying, hey, you know what? I think women just are a little bit shy, and guys are just basically more aggressive in terms of sharing their links. And so I tweeted back and said, what are you talking about? And then I had my link to my site, right? So that caused, that obviously lightened up the mood a little bit. And then she replied with, oh, ha, 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 that was really funny. And there's also some other people who replied as well. So it's a really great way, again, for you to show your personality and be funny, at the same time connecting with people that you know and making friends with people that you don't know. Asking for advice. It's really great for us to position ourselves as an expert, as somebody who can provide value, as somebody who can be beneficial to somebody. But many times we need help ourselves as well. So, take advantage of the network. There's a lot of experts out there in things that we'll never even begin to understand. So when I first got my Mac, I asked, what's a good FTP client for a Mac? And then we got all these people, including Lee, responding to that exact same question because I wasn't an expert Mac user. I didn't know anything about what programs to use, what programs are the best, and so I asked that question, and people provided me with that help. So it's a really great way for me to take advantage of that as well because it's an awesome way to connect with people and find out exactly, this is a really great way for me to find out who the Mac users are as well, and use that as a follow-up case study or a survey, or maybe later on when we decide that we want to build a Mac application or something. This is going to be our top prospects right here.
Yeah, and also, I don't know if you know, but Simon is a recently converted BlackBerry user, and he asked advice on Twitter, should I switch to iPhone? And overwhelmingly, the response was yes. So like guess 95%. What kind of phone he has now? He made a decision to go to iPhone because of Twitter. So.
Yeah, it was actually incredible because right when I hit the submit button on the tweet, instantly, as soon as my BlackBerry internet loaded, there were responses already. So you understand exactly what people are passionate about and start driving on that passion. Okay, so becoming a resource to your followers. Make productive posts, okay? So don't send just lame messages. Don't just go, okay, you know what, I'm gonna go to Starbucks, all right? Because the question, and this is a really big mistake a lot of people make, is they just make really boring one-sentence tweets because I guess it's partly Twitter's fault because their tagline is, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing? So you tell people exactly what you're doing. But what Google doesn't show you, well, actually, what Twitter doesn't show you, and what Google actually picked up on, is that on the homepage of Twitter.com, and this is what Google does because they see exactly what is going to trigger all of this, they see the term join the conversation. Joining the conversation is basically what you're supposed to do. So you're supposed to make conversation, you're supposed to interact, and you're not just supposed to tell people what you're doing. You're not supposed to say, hey, I'm going to Starbucks. You're supposed to say, hey, I'm going to Starbucks. What type of latte do you recommend that I get today? You know, make it a conversation, make it a way for you to start interacting with people. Here's another example of becoming a resource. When Google Maps came out with a new technology, I announced it and gave people the link to it. Google Keyword Tool, probably I'm a little bit biased to it because I helped develop that back in the day when I started working at Google, but they made enhancements to it a few months ago. And so I said, hey, you know what? The best tool out there for keyword research just got even better. It got even better, and here's the link to it. So it's a really great way for you to share resources, and people will appreciate you for it. Being resourceful by sending resourceful links, anything that's relevant, bring value to your visitors, and anybody who is going to find your information valuable and really want to share this information with other people, they're going to retweet that. What happens when they retweet? They give you credit. What happens when they give you credit? Your name is on there, and people are start going to see you as a resource, and more people are going to start following you. So here's an example. Graphic designers and Photoshop users enjoy these cool free downloads. So it's basically a bunch of free plugins for Photoshop, and these people were so appreciative of it that they retweeted it and started sharing it with their followers as well. And anytime something of yours gets retweeted, it gets shown to all of their respective followers, so you get more followers in the process as well. Now, showing your personality in your communication is very important, especially when you have split personalities, then you don't really know who to represent. But if you have one, then this is a really great way for you to start building relationships as well. So if you're funny by nature, then be funny and be entertaining. The bottom line is just to really be yourself. You want to show off your fun side, you want to make people laugh, and you also want to build relationships in the process. We're going to repeat this over and over because social media, Google marketing, everything is surrounded by building relationships. You need to start building a relationship with your users. You need to understand what they want. You need to respond to what they want, and then you need to really interact with them on the bigger scale. So for anybody who is interested in jokes, then you're touching them by telling lame jokes. Do you want to do the accent?
No.
So this is when I went to Singapore. And so it's usually funny to people who are in the States because I do this in my Chinese accent. So this was a joke. It's like, I just flew 21 hours to Singapore, and boy, are my arms tired, And so people here can probably appreciate that more. But people in Singapore, when I say it, it's more cricket, because they don't understand it. When I tell that joke, they think that's my original voice, because that's how they speak. And so they don't think it's funny at all. So tell lame jokes, but only in specific places. Okay? Express frustrations humorously. Okay? One of our good friends, his name is Ross. We went to his house. Great guy. He's funny. He's great. And we have a good time with him. He's a good friend. But he has 3 little monsters that just drive us insane.
He calls them monsters, so it's no disrespect at all.
No, it's a complete joke. But no, they're just, they're hyper, they're
a handful.
They're a big handful. So when Lee and myself were at his house, just hanging out, and thank goodness he lives on the first story, because as I tweeted, I'm so glad we're on the first story because I'm about to jump out the window. That's how frustrated. As a matter of fact, I think one of the things that drove me up the wall, or broke the camel's back, if you will, I was just hanging out, and
now you got Simon is actually kind of quiet, except you get him on stage. This is like a really weird Penn and Teller thing, right? I'm sitting here drawing little stupid stuff on the board. That's okay though. But Simon
in real life,
is there.
we're like the opposite.
Yeah.
Which is
really
odd. Yeah. Anyway, so I was just there hanging out, trying to do some work, and then one of his kids come up. So are you Chinese, Korean, or Asian? Like, are those my only choices? And she's like, yeah, pretty much. So then I was gonna jump out the window right then, but I didn't. However, I did have a follow-up tweet.
I talked him off the ledge, by the way.
I did have a follow-up tweet after that, after Lee talked me off the ledge, and I just said, good Lord, I'm just never gonna have kids. Right? And I tweeted that publicly, and everybody had a good laugh about it, okay? Sharing cool experiences. The last time I was actually somewhere in Florida, we went, and I had a connection flight to Tampa, and there were so few people there, that I actually had like 10 or 12 people only, so it was like a little small commuter plane, and they actually invited me to sit on the co-pilot seat. So I tweeted that. I was like, hey, guess what? I'm on the co-pilot seat of a 10-seater. This is really cool. I'm just going to censor what's up there. This is really cool, haha, okay? And then another time when I was like in a different city, I was at the border of like Denver and Englewood, and I was like, hey, one of my foot is in Denver, and the other one is in Englewood. So it's just interesting, silly at the same time. A lot of times they're lame, but it's a way for you to connect with people that you will connect with. Share funny things about yourself. So we had a quick joke earlier about how my face gets really big. It's because, I don't know if it's an Asian thing or it's just because I'm unlucky, but I can't gain weight because the first place it goes to is my face. So that's really frustrating. And so this one time, I ate a little bit too much, and I tweeted, oh man, I cleared the table. This can't be good for my face. So people responded to that as well. And then I shared a little bit more about myself another time when I pointed to myself and said, hey, I have type 2 ADD. Actually, that was when I found out for the first time that I had type 2 ADD. And so I don't know whether I was proud of it or not, but I was really happy because that explained a lot of things that was very unexplained for a very long time. So that's probably a solution. I have type 2 ADD, and so I announced it to the world. Share funny videos. So there was this one video this one time about, I think it was either a Korean guy or a Japanese guy, but he was really into this one song that he was singing. It was a Mariah Carey song, and he sang it really passionately, and he really sang it like with like an Asian accent, which was kind of interesting. So a lot of people found that interesting, and so I tweeted the link and I said, ladies and gentlemen, the next William Hung, right? And so we had all these people retweeting that. Anybody know William Hung? Yeah, the guy from American Idol.
I've seen him in concert, dude. He rocks.
He rocks.
Yeah.
He made himself famous as a result of, singing a song. But a lot of people were actually laughing at him, and he didn't realize it. He thought that he was really getting a lot of these fans, and so this guy was probably really similar. So it was a really funny way to share something with the audience. Okay, spreading seasonal cheer in a funny way. So anybody watch A Christmas Story? A Christmas Story from, I don't even know what year it was from, but a very long time ago. And at the end, they had these Chinese waiters singing Deck the Halls, right? And so,
how many people want to hear Simon sing?
No.
So raise your hand, yes, come on.
Don't raise your hand.
Simon needs to sing, right? Come on, Simon.
So this is the line from the movie. Basically, they were okay. So everybody, let's sing. Okay. So there's a horse with boughs of holly, rah 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 rah. Because Asian Chinese people can't pronounce the L, and so the other guy goes, no, it's la 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 la, fa la 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 la. So they go rah 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 rah. Okay. No la la la. So tweeted that, and people thought it was funny because it was racist. So that's why they laughed. Anyway, all right. Finally, we want to share with you how you can increase your credibility with photos and videos. As a matter of fact, the law of association is so important nowadays that people want to see exactly who you're hanging out with. If I walk out this room with, Ken McArthur, then nobody's going to pay attention to me until Ken McArthur goes, hey, this is my buddy Cy, Then all of a sudden, people are instantly connected because they say, hey, you know what? If you're friends with Ken McArthur, then you must be somebody, right? Because Ken is at that level, and we're like all the way down here. So, actually, Ken probably saw some of the pictures that I had on my website, so we tricked him into giving us a speaking slot this weekend. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but I probably think
he's giving you the dirty look back there.
Anyhow, increasing your credibility with photos and videos is a really great way for you to share your expertise and kind of more or less show off who your friends are online. So a really big tip, a really great tip, and good thing we're only here on the first day because you have the rest of the weekend to do this. Always have a camera with you. Always bring it because you're never going to know when the next Kodak moment might happen. That's why we have aspiring 13-year-old photographers in the room. So because photography is important, that's why people are walking around with cameras. That's why people are taking pictures and putting it up online because that's the law of association. Now you're hanging out with the people that you want to meet, who are your mentors, who are your idols, who you never thought about meeting in your life. And all of a sudden, it's a really great way for you to start building a relationship and start building that friendship with them. So always bring a camera with you. An example of some potential things you can do with your camera and putting them up on Twitter. Live presentations. Actually, I think this is a picture that either Lee or Robin took at one of my presentations. And it's a TwitPic. If you go to twitpic.com, twitpic.com, Lee's going to write it up on the board. It's a way for you to take a picture with your camera and then upload it instantly onto your Twitter, and you can post it onto your website, and everything happens automatically, which is really cool. Okay? So live presentations, if you do any of them, make sure that you post them up. If you're presenting with famous friends, here's another. Actually, that's Ken right there. It's kind of hard to see on the slide because it's kind of dark. That's Ken right there, but this is a presentation that I shared with Joel Comm. Anybody know who Joel Comm is? Yeah. Anybody don't know who Joel Comm is? You don't need to know. He's a best-selling author, now a Twitter expert, but he made his claim to fame on the AdSense niche. But we did a co-presentation together, and that was tweeted. Sharing the stage with more famous experts. So there's Yannick Silver right there. Mike Filsame is also in there. This was an expert panel similar to what you saw earlier today. And then dining with famous friends, Marlene Sanders, Ben Mack, and a few other people also in this picture. So telling people that you're hanging out with these people. So if you're going to be hanging out with speakers this weekend, it's a really great way for you to tweet about it and let your followers know who you're kind of hanging out with as well. Partying with VIP friends, Mike Filsame in here, and Matt Basak. Anybody heard of what is it called? An Irish car bomb? It's a really popular drink, probably nobody. So Irish car bomb, we were having an Irish car bomb, and we're sharing it with the world and saying, and this is a really great way for you to share another side of yourself as well, because you don't want to be just that boring person who is just at live events and presenting and having dinner. You also want to have the other side of you who maybe is kind of more prone to hanging out with individuals and stuff like that, okay? On location at various live events. So this is now something called 12seconds.tv. 12seconds.tv. And they're basically a bunch of 12-second videos. So now if you have a webcam or a camera or like a MacBook or something where there's a built-in webcam, you can instantly record yourself doing pretty much anything you want, okay? And so this is a couple 12-second videos that I took at a live event this was in Napa, I think. Both of these videos were taken at Napa, and we had some of the top names there. Alex Mendozian was there, as well as Bill Bartman and Tony Robbins and Stephen Pierce and all those people. And it was a really great event, but at the same time, sharing this information, I'm saying, hey, you know what? Why aren't you here? This is where you got to be. This is where the party is. Some other 12-second videos, product launch updates. Whenever you launch something, whenever you have something up for sale and you want to get people excited about it, a very effective way of doing that is to show your enthusiasm and show your passion about that particular product or service on video. Because if you don't do that, then people aren't going to see that passion. Your passion isn't going to shine through just on the text in your email or your tweets. Or anywhere on a web page. You want to make sure that you show your passion on video so that people can see exactly how passionate you are and how relevant it might be for their businesses as well. Announcements and news whenever something comes up. If you have a live show coming on, if you have another product launch, or if you're going somewhere, if you want feedback on individual things that you're working to achieve, you want specific kind of surveys on different things that you want your friends' opinions or whatnot, put it on video as well and make it a good way for you to make these type of announcements, because now you're personally connecting with them and people are really going to be more excited about what you have to share. Office tours, there's a couple pretty cool ones. Actually, a lot of people on Twitter were asking me, hey, you know what? We know you're in China. We know you have a team out there. When are we going to get to see it? So we had some office tour videos, and these two were actually taken from my office in Nanjing, China, and it was 12 seconds, but basically we said, hey, you know what, here's 12 seconds of video, but we also have I think it was like a 3 or 4 minute video on YouTube that you can go to this link and look at right now. So it's a really great way for you to not only make short videos, but also use it to direct traffic to another site as well. So here's a summary of everything that we talked about: social media fundamentals, effective social marketing for profit, developing your personal brand, adding the right friends and followers, sharing valuable information, communicating and encouraging interaction, becoming a resource, showing your personality, and then increasing your credibility, which is all extremely important. However, all of these are great ways, as we talked about, as a result of doing all of these, it's going to help you increase your search engine rankings. Twitter is just one of many strategies in social media that you want. If you remember, Twitter was on 2 of our top #1 page rankings, right? There were other ones, including YouTube, including Facebook, including anything with videos and blogging and things like that. So we understand that effective Google marketing can get you rankings, but does it work? Can these strategies actually make you money? Well, here's some social proof. I wake up every morning and I check my emails to this. Okay, I have an email notification of sales folder, and I see all of these email notification of sales. Pretty cool, right? What would be even cooler than email notification of sales? Any guesses? There you go, email notification of payments, right? You want to see that you're actually getting paid. So these are my, you can't zoom in or anything, but kind of blurry. But these are all my PayPal notifications, anything from $100, $200 to $1,000. There's one for $10,000, and this is basically random people who are my new customers. These are people that I kind of promoted my products here and there, and now they're coming to my site as a result of Twitter, as a result of Facebook, as a result of all these videos, and they're buying my products and services because they see the value in it. So let's do the math a little bit. How many of you think that say a successful business can be $100,000? So if you make 6 figures a year, would you consider that to be pretty successful? Yes? So let's do the math a little bit, break it down. You only need to make $273 a day to make $100,000. $273.97 a day. Now, if you have your email inbox with notifications like this every single day, do you think you can make $200, $300, $500? Well, it's very easy to make 6 figures a year then, right? Well, this is a system. Lee and I have created a system that can help you grow your business by $100,000 a year on demand, literally, by duplicating the system. So if you want to make $1 million, all you have to do is duplicate the system 10 times. To duplicate another, the more times you duplicate it, the more times you're going to grow your business by $100,000 a year. So here's some additional results of making sales and getting paid every day. This is a screenshot of, where is it? This is one of our merchant accounts. Looks like ClickBank. No, this is actually PayPal. And you can see there's, where is it? There's like $500, there's $900, there's $3,000, there's $1,000, here's one that's close to $4,000. So all these people are paying us as a result of all these viral marketing strategies. Here's some ClickBank commissions.
I'm so glad this is Ken's event, not ours, because we do embarrassing things to phones at ours.
Here's ClickBank commissions, every day making sales. One of our merchant accounts, over $40,000 in there. Here's another PayPal account. This is actually a screenshot of when we made over $100,000 in just a 12-day period. So it's really great, right, to make $100,000 a year. Well, how would you like it if you can make $100,000 while you're on vacation? Because this was when we were on vacation. As a matter of fact, this was when I was in Disney World. I was away from my business for 12 whole days, and we made over $100,000. In fact, we've grown our business so well now that, how long have we worked together? Not very long. Last week, we had our first $100,000 day, right? Is that cool? Wow. Recent deposits while traveling, okay? So this was actually last week. We had an event with Robert Allen and Mark Victor Hansen. We were doing 3 days of workshops and planning things like that, and we were literally working and away from our internet and our computer and our business for 3 whole days, and in one day, while that was happening, there was a deposit of $24,000 and another deposit of $7,000 while we're doing absolutely nothing. Here's another one, recent transactions while traveling. What's today's date? May 1st? Yeah. This was April 29th. We were traveling, literally, and there were a few $1,500 transactions going into our bank account with us even knowing about it. Is that something cool to
I think we were
land
sleeping,
onto?
weren't we?
Was that?
Not together. We were sleeping, though.
We were at the same time.
At the same time.
Probably.
Technically together. How do you
like that.
find that?
So here's an example of some affiliate checks. You're going to see a lot of our examples. We're not going to promise you $1 million overnight. We're not going to promise you, unless your name is google.com, to have overnight success. These are realistic goals. Growing your business to 6 figures a year is realistic. Now, if you want to grow it to even more than that, then you're going to put in a little bit more work. You know, we're not going to lie to you and say, apply the system, you're going to make $1 million by tomorrow. That's not true. You're going to see our checks are really small. We have $300 checks, we have $20 checks, we have $200 checks, $500 checks, $1,200 checks, as well as all the different merchant accounts and all the different things. So these are small amounts, but together when they add up, it's going to make you more than $273 a day. It's going to make you probably $2,000 a day if you get checks like that, right? And that's going to grow your business into lots of six-figure incomes. The more, again, you duplicate the system, the more often you're going to grow your business by $100,000 or more. So we discussed one strategy, which is Twitter, right? Now, who wants to learn the rest of them? The insider strategy, step-by-step to building a massive, loyal following who will click on your links and buy your stuff. You guys want to learn more about that? Yeah. Do we have your permission to talk to you more about how you can do that? Say yes. Yes.
It's okay to say yes.
It's okay to nod your head. We can see. Okay, so we have this is actually brand new. We developed this last week, and it's called the Go Platinum Rockstar Program. This is a 12-week program now? We've extended it to?
Actually, this is the first week that we did the program, so when we had that six-figure day. So it just took off. It was beautiful.
Great system. Okay. So Lee's going to talk to you more about how we can show you step-by-step how to find a niche market, not only a niche market, but a hot niche market where people are going to be not just looking for a product to buy, but they have their credit cards in hand ready to buy. And then also how to market it the right way and maximize the power of Google and social media to become the next internet marketing rockstar and become rockstar status in any niche that you possibly want.
So, you know, I know some people, when we do this presentation, this is the second time, so we have a lot of experience doing it. They say, well, you spend an awful lot of time talking about Twitter. Why did you do that? And the real reason comes back to, I believe, the first time I saw mention of it, it was in 1938, Robert Collier's book. It said, enter the conversation going on in their mind. Has anybody heard that before? I think Dan Kennedy recently popularized it, so I'll give Dan and Robert. I'm sure that before Robert, there was someone who popularized it in different words back then as well, and he found it. Well, we like to take that a step further. Why do we talk so much about Twitter? Because their conversation is going on in their mind right now, right? You want to enter that conversation. You want to talk with them about the things that they want to talk about on the spot. Simon wanted to know. He really was agonized in the decision of BlackBerry versus iPhone. Overwhelmingly, the public told him to go iPhone, so now he's carrying an iPhone. So, I mean...
While you're talking, I'm going to tweet.
So, I mean, really, we like to take it a step further, though, because what it really is all about is not only entering the conversation and going in their mind, but entering it in the way that they want to communicate. Tons of people are on the internet. Tons of people are on Twitter. Tons of people are on the other social media sites. We showed you, over 200 million joining the social media sites. So there's really a whole big picture. Twitter is just one part of it. So you enter the conversation going on in their mind. Now, I drew this on the board here because this is really important. This is why we came together. We came together because this is Simon driving traffic via Twitter and Google. We do okay on the net too, but really I'm an offline guy. We went offline 18 months ago, and the reason I did that is because I said, wait a second, I'm noticing a pattern here. The people who are making the most money online are the people who have offline experience, so what do they know that I don't know? So I went to the root. I found the core of the people who knew the offline marketing the best. Took the online, mixed it with the offline, and created the hybrid marketing scenario. Simon and I, we've known each other since 2006 now, and we decided, hey, it's time to partner up because this is just, it's a perfect match. It just makes sense to do this because together we can accomplish so much more. So what we've done is, my whole thing is in the follow-up and back end. I have a completely automated hybrid marketing back end, which means we follow up with them via online and offline methods in the back end. So once we get them into your sales system, into your funnel, the biggest weakness most people have is they don't follow up. If anybody makes a purchase from us over $500, first thing they get from us is a handwritten card. It's very important. Creating the relationships, and I like to call them real relationships, R-E-A-L. And that, that's not just some corny thing I made up, although it is some corny thing I made up. But still, it's real to me because it's all about creating the real connection. I mean, I want to really connect with each one of you and see how we can help you. One of the things I encourage you to do before this weekend's over is write down on a piece of paper the one biggest question that you have. And if you had that question answered this weekend, the one thing that will make the biggest difference in your life from a business perspective. or a personal perspective. There are people here who can give you advice on both sides. So it's all about creating the relationship. That's why you come to these seminars. That's why we come to these seminars, because we want to meet you, find out what you need. We've climbed the mountain. We've done the work. We've figured it out. We want to share it with more people. I mean, there's a lot of people come up here, they try real hard to sell, they try real hard to get you packages. We'd like for you to work with us too, but we're not going to try hard to sell because that's not why we're here. We're here to share. We're here to share with you. We're here to give you information. We're here to take you. I mean, we've only taken you this far, okay? And we have all this way to go still. Obviously, we can't do that in 90 minutes. This actually is a 4-hour presentation that we condensed down to 90 minutes. And it was tough, but you did it. That's a good job. So one of the things that we put together is the 12-week program that Simon mentioned. And what it's all about is it's about building your social media empire, the Go Platinum Rockstar program. We actually came up with the name about 5 minutes ago. So, no, actually 90 minutes ago, right before we came on, to be honest with you. But what it's all about is it's about creating your empire. How much impact do you think you could have in the world with 10,000 names in your Twitter list? We don't even look at our email list anymore as our list, as our database. We say, okay, how many people do we have on Facebook, Twitter, and all the social media combined? And that's our database. That's our people that we talk to. You know, my email list, I have an email list too, and it's a good size, but that's not where I put my emphasis because it's more difficult to build relationships in email than it is on social media like Twitter. I mean, when Simon and I are flying, we're without our phones, and we're just like, we can't connect to anybody. You know, we have to talk to each other, and that's cool, but I want to talk to all these other people too. So, you know, it's the connection. That's what it's all about for us. So basically what we put together is, you know, the question is, can you really do it yourself? It's a lot of work. I mentioned earlier, everything takes time or money. So it's all about taking the time to do it. I recently started in Twitter just in May. It's already 30% of my web traffic. I mean, can you imagine in 6 more months what it's going to be? You know, it's amazing. It's May and May. It's a year now. Wow, it's already May. Geez. So, you know, having 10,000 names in your database, you know, how much time will that take per week? It's like 2 to 3 hours a day at minimum to make something like that happen. Now, if you had to outsource it, what would it cost? If you had to outsource it, we know that, I can say his name, Mark Victor Hansen, we know that he pays someone to help him with his social media efforts, and he pays at least $2,500 a month to do that.
Just on Twitter.
Just on Twitter. That's just Twitter. Now, what we actually push is we have 12 different media sites that we want you to be on and want you to have a significant presence on. If you do 2,500 times 12, I'm sure you're better at math than I am, but it's over $20,000 a month. Or you take your time to do it. So it's all about, you know, finding that balance. Have a lot of people actually here that says, hey, I'll just give you my credit card. If you can just do it for me, just tell me how much it'll cost. And we say, that's very nice of you, but no, we can't do that. Because we're traveling around the world, we're helping people, we're trying to share. But we do have a team of folks who can help you do that. Highly trained, highly skilled people who do it the way that we do it so that it actually works. Now, 12-week program. So there's probably a learning curve. How many people are experienced on Twitter and MySpace and Facebook? So a few people, but not a lot. So everything takes time or money. I mean, basically what we're going to talk to you about is building it for you. Would you want a system that actually walked you through step by step, showed you everything you needed to do to build a good network, showed you how to create the relationships, videos, checklist even, to say, hey, this week do this week do this week do this, and it just keeps building on each other, keeps adding to everything. Over a 12-week period, you could have at least 10,000 people in your database. And when I say database, I mean on Twitter, I mean all the other places too. That 10,000 people can become your list. One of the things I learned from the crusty old offline marketers is if you have 1,000 good customers, they can feed you for life. You'll never go hungry. You'll live abundantly, as long as you're offering and you're helping them at the same time. So that's what we try to do. If you get 10,000 people, you're going to have 1,000 good folks on your list who are going to feed you forever. You're going to feed them too, because you're going to be helping them at the same time. So, go ahead, talk a little bit. You know, one of the biggest lessons I had to learn is to ask for help. And it was in 2006 when I went to my first marketing seminar. And in 2006 at my first marketing seminar, I didn't want to ask anybody for help. I didn't want to do anything. I figured that, I'd already gotten in trouble one time spending so much money, and I just couldn't ask for help. Now, I know a lot of you don't know this. I can't swim. I know how to swim, but I can't swim a lick. I taught both my kids how to swim, but I can't do it. I just physically can't make it happen. So the importance of that story is because we used to live in Richmond, Virginia. When we lived in Richmond, Virginia, Robin and I wanted to have a boat. We didn't know why we wanted a boat. We were in love with the idea of a boat. Just like I'm in love with the idea of playing the guitar. I have 2 guitars sitting in front of my desk. How often do you think I touch those? Not too often. I want to really bad, though. So we bought this boat. And the thing about the boat is, when you buy a used boat from someone, it was a nice old lady. Her husband had just passed away. And she wanted the boat to go to a family. She wanted the boat to go to people who could enjoy it the same as they did with their family. So we bought the boat. And when we bought the boat, we knew that we had to take care of it. We didn't know anything about that, though. So we took it out to the lake one day. We tried to crank it. The thing died on us. So we said, okay, we're in trouble now. Because it ran fine in her driveway. I guess she knew how to crank it, right? We didn't know how to crank the thing. So we parked the thing on the dock, had somebody jump us. We finally got it running. And the thing about the boat was sometimes it ran fine. After it got going, it would go. It's kind of like one of those things. You get it going, it's going to keep going. So we go out there, and what I did is I bought one of those little chargers. You know those little chargers you can plug to the battery and everything's good? So we got out there with the charger, so if it died on us, we would just get a recharge from that little battery. We went out one time, and I had forgotten to charge the charger. So we go out there, we put the boat in the water, we crank it, it dies. I say, no problem, honey, I have a charger, plug it in. We had some friends with us. The guy had already taken the trailer and parked it, just me and Robin on the boat. And charger was dead, so the boat wouldn't crank. Now the reason I'm telling you this is because about 150 yards from where the pier was a dam. There was about an 85-foot drop. So as the boat's sitting there, we're drifting slowly toward the dam. And as we're drifting slowly towards the dam, I'm thinking, uh-oh, I'm in trouble because I can't swim. Now the funnier thing about this is there on the pier where we had docked or whatever you call it, on the landing, there were people watching, just seeing what was going on. So I figured, hey, I'll just wave, I'll say, hey, they'll understand we're in trouble, they'll come and help us out. They didn't, they just waved back. Hi, how you doing? So I'm like, okay, this isn't working because we're too far to yell for it to make sense. So Robin says to me, now she's a country girl from Ohio. She grew up in the cornfields of Ohio. Not actually in the cornfields, she had a house, but she grew up in Ohio. And she's like, you know what, you can't swim, so you sit here, you drive the boat. I'm gonna jump in the water. When I do, you throw me the rope, and I'll drag the boat to shore. So I'm thinking, I have no choice. The next best thing I can do is put on little floaties and try to do it myself. That's not gonna work. So Robin goes to the front of the boat, she gets herself ready, and she does this perfect swan dive right into the water. It's beautiful, or at least it was to me. She probably just jumped in, but I don't know. This muddy water, we're drifting toward the dam. So she's in the water, she says, Lee, throw me the rope. So I throw her the rope, she grabs the rope, puts it in her teeth and says, okay, let's go. So she starts swimming toward the shore. Now the funnier thing is there are people now at the dock, more and more people gathering there just watching us and laughing, and they don't know what's going on. Even worse than that, there were 2 people there with jet skis who could have easily come out, got the boat and dragged us to shore, but nobody helped. Nobody helped us at all. We finally did get to the dock. Everything was cool. We didn't die. I don't know if we'd have died. We would have probably hit the dam and sat there and kind of done this, right? And then somebody would have helped. But the thing is, you have to eventually ask for help. I learned that lesson in 2006. I relearned that lesson last week at Mark Victor Hansen and Bob Allen's event. That the biggest thing you can do for yourself to help yourself and help your career and help you springboard is to grab onto the shirts of people who are there, who are willing to help you and are willing to give to you to make it happen. And that's why we're here. We're not going to make a hard offer to you. We're just going to let you know that that's why we're here. If you're interested in building your own Go Platinum Rockstar program over 12 weeks of one-on-one hands-on training where we're going to have videos, checklists, and everything for you, and by the end of that 12 weeks, you're going to have at least 10,000 people on your list, we're going to not only show you this much, which is what you've seen today, but we're going to show you the entire picture. How many people would like to have $5,000, $10,000, $100,000 checks going into their account every day, every week? Now, we're not promising you that, any of that, just like it wasn't promised to us. We can't promise you that because it really depends on you doing the work. But if you want something like that, if that's something that you aspire to, we'd love for you to come and talk with us. We've really enjoyed spending time with you today, even though it's like a weird Penn and Teller thing where Lee didn't talk much. Lee didn't talk much because this is where I usually pick up right here after hour number 2. So then Simon sits over there and draws goofy things about me on the board, but that's okay. So just come and talk to us anytime. We're leaving Sunday morning. So anytime between then and now, come and talk to us. We'll be happy to show you what we got, give you more information. We only want to talk to the serious people. That's why we're not giving you too many details here. So if you're serious, if you want to make this happen, if you want to work with us, we already have a few clients, few coaching students in the audience that can vouch for what we have. So just come and talk with us. Is our time up? We're probably early, right? 5 minutes. Do you want to do a quick Q&A for 5 minutes, or do you just want to wrap it? You guys cool with a quick Q&A for 5 minutes? Yeah? Are you going to actually talk to us this time? Can we get a portable mic to walk around to people so you can have it? Or do you not have one?
We're all out of inputs.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll just use mine then. All right. Take this one right here, Thomas.
Thanks. My question is, you talked about creating a Twitter account, I guess, for each brand or your name. How do you decide what to talk about where? I mean, you gotta, if you have a brand, you still want to be personable, but you can't be repeating the same stuff, right, on different accounts?
Well, actually, you can to some extent because you're going to have different followers. Some of them are going to overlap your different accounts, but that's okay. They're not going to really mind that much. If they're watching your different accounts anyway, they already know that you may talk about different things. Like I have about 6 accounts. Simon has probably a dozen or more. So some of the things that people on list A find interesting, that we think people on list B might find interesting, we'll talk about in multiple places. Do you want to add to that at all?
I just found a lot of value in terms of segregating it out because, I mean, there's the main one that I do, which has a lot of information most people know me about around Google marketing. And then my other split personality is more, I don't know, I mean, there's a lot of people kind of see different sides of it. There's marketing stuff on there, there's things that talk about business, but then there's also the more fun side, okay? So if you want to be more entertaining for one of the accounts, then you can probably do it for that one. And then for the other ones where we had the Rockstar Platinum one, that is basically anything that is relevant to our event promotion. So if we have a promotion for an event coming up and we had speakers who are talking about Google AdWords, who are talking about offline direct marketing, who are talking about copywriting, then we're going to have content related to that. We're going to find specific followers who are going to be interested in learning things like that. And then we just want to make sure that all our lists are pretty much relevant. Again, with the example that we had earlier with cat training or dog training or pet training, you don't want to send any internet marketing information to those guys, right? Because it's not relevant to them. So relevancy is really important. That's also what Google looks at. That's one of the major things that we talk about in our course is how relevancy can play a big role even with your Twitter streams, with your tweets, with the messages that you send publicly or even privately. Google can see all that information, so you just want to keep them relevant on a keyword standpoint as well, and make sure that it's relevant all around the board.
The question was, does Google tile those accounts to one person, to you?
Google considers each page to be a different entity, so you don't have to worry about it.
Okay, story lady.
Okay. Would you be willing to let out one really quick, powerful secret for increasing your Twitter followers?
No. Yes. Go ahead, Si.
Well, yeah, actually, it's not quick. One of the strategies that has worked really well for me was going into and maximizing, because I have a kind of a strategic background of going into Google search and all that. I use Twitter search a lot. So let's say I want to find somebody who is interested in, say, cat training. I go to Twitter search, which is search.twitter.com, and I do a search for cat training. And then you're going to see in chronological order the most recent post in association with cat training or whatever your keyword might be. So what you want to do is you want to go to those followers, you want to add them, and you want to send them a tweet. relevant to CAT training because they're already talking about it. You can see that this person tweeted something a minute ago. You can see the next person tweeted something 5 minutes ago. You can see the next person tweeted something maybe 10 minutes ago. Any tweet within the last hour or two, all really relevant. Chances are most people are still online, and they're talking about that particular topic. So if you start talking to them, making sure that you're not just following them in hopes of them following you back, you want to not only follow them, but also say, hey, I just followed you, I found your information valuable, let's make this relationship mutually beneficial. So you're gradually kind of building it that way, but that's gonna be I would say the most effective way of getting people to follow you back by building that relationship with them.
And, a lot of times when people, they ask us a lot about the automated tools that you can use to build your Twitter followers. And we said that any tool is okay when used legally, morally, ethically, and responsibly. I could use that pen and I could either write a nice love note to somebody or I could just stab somebody in the neck with it. It could be used good and bad ways, right? So you have to really think about the good and bad ways things can be used and be sure that you're doing the right things with those. I don't want to stab anybody in the neck. I'd rather write you a nice note. But what other questions do we have? Anything? Let's take Steve's question since you're closer, and I'm kind of lazy.
I'm very new to this, and I'm very reluctant. One of my concerns is that this is going to consume my life, and I'm not willing to give that, that amount of my life to what you're talking about. Is that a reasonable concern, or am I missing something?
I believe that is a reasonable concern. It will consume a lot of your life. A year ago I didn't use Twitter at all, and now it's a couple hours a day easy that I spend tweeting with people. But it's all about what goals are you trying to accomplish, because any business that you do is going to consume a reasonable portion of your life. So if you want to incorporate these kind of methods into your business building, they're obviously and naturally going to consume some of your life too. So it's all about really what your end goals are. Now there are different ways to promote your business, build your business, grow your business, find your niche, do different things. So it's really all about what you're trying to accomplish. But yeah, it is a natural concern. But what we like to focus on is the end result. What is your desired end result? And then work backwards from the desired end result to help you have a real path that you can follow to make things happen. Now, over this 12-week period, we're going to have a checklist, we'll have videos, we'll have everything that you need to do. So if you're willing to put in a couple of hours a week to make this work, it could be something that could be very worthwhile to you and your business. Okay, let's take this next one. Sandra Friend. Hello.
I was wondering, since you manage multiple personas on Twitter, what tool do you use to do that without signing in and out of the main screen all the time?
Okay, good question. There are lots of tools. Simon uses a lot on his Mac, and I use Tweety on my iPhone. Tweety lets you manage multiple accounts, and all you do is click on the one you want to use. You don't have to log in and out all the time.
On the web browser, there's one called Split Tweets, SplitWeet.com, that you can use to manage multiple accounts. There's another one called Hootsuite, HOOTSUITE.com. And then there's also some desktop applications that you download onto your computer. One of them is called...
Well, Tweety just came out with a Mac application.
Yeah, the Tweety is the desktop version. There's also one called Seismic Desktop, and there's another one called T-Whirl, TWIRL, I believe.
Yeah, TWHIRL, I think.
One or the other.
Yeah. All right, any more questions? Nothing? No? Felicia's saying no. But I think we should let the audience drive whether we have questions, as long as Ken doesn't beat me up. Any more questions at all? Ladies, no questions from the table? You all have been giving such great feedback the entire time. Thank you so much.
Bad for you out there.
Don't feel bad for me.
You're so quiet.
I'm a quiet guy. I'm shy. You know that, right? Any more questions real quick before Felicia tackles me?
I think Bob and Kim talks too much.
Nothing else? Hey, thank you for the time. Felicia, it's all yours.
Thank you. You guys were great. Love